And I'm Amy Jurgens. I'm the director here at the Entrepreneurship Center and Focus Suites. And it's my pleasure to introduce Trex Gold, and he is going to be talking to us about himself and about his business. And Trex, I'll let you just take it away.
Okay, yeah, what a pleasure to be here at the Focus Suite, Southeast Community College. If I compare it to Turbine Flats or the Fuse Co-working, I think this is the premier one. Yeah, 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 and what a great country we're involved in. You know, the United States is number one. China's trying to catch us and such, but still very dominant is United States of America. But as entrepreneurs, we know that that's just not quite enough to bank on the United States of America as being the supreme country. You got to focus on, your marketing as an entrepreneur and sales. Oh gosh, sales is kind of the current thing that I'm focusing on with Golden Industries Incorporated. And, you got to wear many hats. I attended Southeast Community College, took 4 speech classes during my get my degree eventually at UN Omaha. So I'm a maverick. But so I know that I must have my card with some of my speech teachers taught me. You got to have your outline, and I wish I could have practiced a bit more with this, but I was able to. I was a member of CEO Club at UN Omaha, which was so much fun. And at CEO Club, I was able to speak about my business quite a few times. So I have experience, but I've always struggled with confidence just a little bit. That's one of the things that I've recently found more confidence here recently, because I proved my concept that because Golden Industries Incorporated, we make powdered aluminum, and this powdered aluminum can be used in many industries. Pyrotechnics is probably a main one. Coatings, that's another one. So where I gained this recent confidence from was during the coronavirus. I never had a successful detonation. If you take, the formula for making an explosive, probably won't interest you too much. Also, the powder making process, probably just going to glance over that. If you wanted to get down into that, I could outline the steps and such if that interests you. But this being, there's different, people whom have their printmaking businesses, music and financials. So I don't need to know the nuts and bolts of what goes in that. Probably broad strokes is appropriate in some instances. And yes, this is so great. Thank you for having me here. Yeah, so at Missouri S&T, Professor Steve Hall, how exactly this few years back, how I got in contact with him. I wanted to have a professional, because as an entrepreneur, sometimes you run into spots that are a bit rough. And so having a mentor is good at times. And like Tim Matan, yes, I came here many years back, and Tim was able to set me straight a little bit, because it's okay if you don't have the answer right away. Sometimes a helping hand, or and we'll get into books later, because some of these authors really have some good. If you read the Wall Street Journal, if that interests you, can really have some neat things to. So got down to Steve Hall at Missouri S&T. I took some 200 mesh powder, which is 67 microns, and gosh, it is difficult pulverizing the aluminum. And he did the mixture with me. He ignited it, and what he suggested, and I was so ecstatic after 10 years because I incorporated back in 2011. The reason why I incorporated was that I wanted to have, I thought it might blast off a bit more because I am pre-revenue, which is some of this lacking with confidence, pre-revenue for 10 years, but I think it's just around the corner if I keep trying for it. You don't want to give up, because so he had the successful detonation, Steve Hall did, and that made me very happy. And Steve suggested that by half the size of the powder, because it does get into, finer powders, probably is more useful in different areas. So, and I also want to grow organically. I could get lending, and, it is possible that I will get lending in the future, because if you look at, many businesses, for instance, the Russell 2000 index, they operate in the red, so money's a bit, there's more money, but getting into kind of economics there, there's
uses that for your product.
Yeah.
Actually, what are you talked about that you did have a actual detonation, but what are some of the uses of the product that you are looking forward to implement?
Yes. Okay. That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. Yes. So I recently got this I got this headset, and I Googled, industries that use powdered aluminum, and I did some of the cold calling and such. Joe Cattell, I'll get into the books, Telesales Tips from the Trenches, Joe Cattell. He gets into how to do cold calls and things like that. So thousands of calls I'm doing to these industries and such. And yes, figuring out, that also gains me confidence, speaking on the phone. Joe says if you a lot of block of time and just do calls, and and those have led me into mailing out, you get permission to mail free samples, 61 free samples I have, and I brought free samples with my business cards today. So I am getting it out there. Yes, doing calls to the businesses that use powdered aluminum. If there's coatings, if you think of some of the coatings, PPG, Sherwin-Williams. Yeah. But, you can get much smaller than that in coatings, paint. And if you want to get into contractors as well, people who paint homes, that's gigantic. There's a shortage of homes, so people are really building homes. And if you own real estate, gosh, value that just through the roof. Excellent. So if you spoke with a contractor who painted, you'd want to ask them if they'd be comfortable with putting some powdered aluminum into paint, maybe if they had like a game room, put some sparkles in that, because the benefits of aluminum is that it's corrosion resistant. It actually forms an oxide layer on the outside of it, so it is resistant to rust. Yes, some of the other industries, autoclaved aerated concrete. Did you know that aluminum is an important ingredient in order to make their concrete like that? Yeah. Right. Okay. Pyrotechnics. Yeah.
So would a company like, let's say, Lincoln Industries, who does powder coating on different, specialty items for trucks, is that an industry that you would be involved in or not? Would that be a customer that you would look for?
Okay, in powder coating specifically, I have made research into that area. They're nozzles that they spray the product through. It is actually small enough that my 37 micron, which is the smallest that I can make at this time, it will go through that, and they do like to spray metallics. So persuading them, if you look at, do you know Zig Ziglar? Closing the sales. Yes, tips to closing the sales. So I am able, Joe Gasnick, I do have, from UNO, some of the professors that I recall, and Joe Gasnick was my sales professor. Working on my sales, my persuasion, and because yep, that's currently what I'm working on to for my business, because aluminum is very interesting itself. Did you know that they take bauxite, which is, mined from the earth, and then they take caustic soda to separate that, and cryolite they add to that with high heat, so it's very expensive to make aluminum, so recycling it is probably a good idea to do that. Yeah, I recently went to the PGI conference that was in Wisconsin, so I am able to put investment into the business. Yeah, because it's a very niche product. Working at a farmer's market, I couldn't really be a vendor there at the Lancaster Event Center, talking to Patty Bailey, there at the Lancaster Event Center. Patty couldn't make it today, unfortunately. Yes, to set up a table like that and be a vendor, it's very niche, it's got to be a specific industry, Are people at farmers markets wanting to buy paints, they probably want vegetables, so the Haymarket, HubSpot, College View, or Fallbrook Farmers Market here in Lincoln. It's probably good to chat with those entrepreneurs, figure out what turns them on and such. So and they probably have good products to purchase as well. But yeah, it's possible I could break into some local vending opportunities like that if I had some, trying to convince people to mix powder into paint. Mixing, that's the step that. So if I had some pre-mixed already and I offered that, so, and always you got to keep innovating as an entrepreneur, yes, you can atomize, powder. I do the pulverization process, which makes it flake shaped, which is good for the pyrotechnics, but if it's atomized, then it's spherical, and that's good for 3D printing, yeah, but it's not just powder, kind of an analogy I do, or how do I define success as Golden Industries Incorporated? You can be an artist, that's kind of like the first thing you are, and then you're a writer. Yeah, so you're a writer now, and then you focus in even closer. You're what genre are you in? What language do you use? And then if you need to back up and just be an artist, you could go into painting. You're a painter. Do you want to do landscapes? Landscapes of only Nebraska. Yeah. So, yeah, it's aluminum. Yes, that's pretty much the thing. Yeah. If I just pass it on, I suppose that's I want to change the state of it and make products that way. Because it is manufacturing, and and that's the thing, a lot of this manufacturing is in other countries. Onshoring some of our manufacturing is probably a good idea, because then you can have intimate contact, you can have say in the quality of them, so that's it's you just keep working at it, and it is awesome being an entrepreneur. Some of the benefits is I get to make my own hours. It's probably a more difficult because there's no set template and what you do on a day-to-day basis. But for compensation, being pre-revenue, how I compensate myself is I get to use some of the machinery. So I got, the business has machinery being manufacturing. And I'm able to use that for personal uses. And because I did do payroll, and that, turns into quite a bit of paperwork. I think if I was making revenue, had employees and things like that, because, the future, you want to have that be wide open, project very positive things, and because there's no reason not to. But, if you get to reading Brian Tracy, Thinking Big, yeah, because literacy, helps. It's probably a very good way because it causes you to think in different ways than Entree Leadership, Dave Ramsey. So those are the books, and that's my presentation and such. My packaging I did bring with me. If you got a good package, you can only judge a book by the cover, but it helps if it is attractive and such. Yep. When I was up at Wisconsin, the competitors, there were others with powdered aluminum. They had just permanent marker wrote powdered aluminum on a Ziploc baggie. So I can do, the size of it, the purity of it, the density of it. I got a whole stats list. If I stuck that on there, that would have, competitive advantage because, if you're buying food and you have the nutrition facts on it, you know exactly the contents of it and such. So that would, and yeah, the the free samples I just recently ordered. As you can see, this is what I send through the mail. I call and ask permission to send these to businesses, and if they say yes, but separate from the card, got these at Vistaprint, yeah. Separate from the card, what is this? I forgot who I got this from. So I ordered stickers. It's going to have my website. I just opened the website last year. So things are, you got to keep working. Things are improving and such. With a sticker on it, we're going to be able to identify where it's from. So things are going good. Yes, it's great to be an entrepreneur. What a great country that we have, that we can strive for that. It's the dream. So do you have any questions for me?
So, okay. Okay, first of all, so what does your product do? I mean, you add it to paint. Does it give it a different sheen, a different look? I mean, what does your product do? Is it, and have you,
Question one. Okay. That's just one of the industries, is the paint, the coating's also epoxy. That's also a coating. So what it does, it's corrosion resistant. It's got a visual appeal to it, being glitter, lustrous, and such. And yeah, there's many benefits to adding it to coatings, paints. So wear resistant, heat resistant. Yes. Yeah, that's one of the markets looking to break into. It's really a very, really nice thing to look forward to. It's uplifting. And so, yes, what was your other question?
So for the interior, it would just get a lighter, almost like reflective coating. Is that what I'm hearing?
Okay, yes, great that you bring that up, that it's reflective, you say, because roof coatings, yeah, it's not just rubber roof coatings they do. They get into some, and we keep on moving towards ultra luxury things. Because so the roof coatings, if it is reflective, that allows you to lower your air conditioning. So reflectivity, yes, that is one of the benefits to putting it in coatings. Yeah. Any other questions for me? You are great.
On piece and rather interior.
It would probably be external, yes. I could have industrial, residential, commercial applications. Yeah, automotive. I don't know if you look at some of those paints on the vehicles out there, they do have metal flakes in them. Yes, so, and they're going to keep making electric vehicles and things like that. So it's healthy business. Yeah, they call it the brown economy. That's when things are going like they should be. Yes. Yeah.
It's your own product, Billy. Well, do you have a patent on it? Because it sounds like it's your own creation.
It's probably not even patent worthy. So a patent, no, no. Trademark, did do that back in the day. Yes, I did get a trademark. I allowed that to expire. So that is the thing is that being the brown economy, that we can keep expecting things to go pretty well. If you look at, did you know that the Armed Forces is actually the largest employer for United States? Walmart is second with 2.3 million employees. But and Walmart is fine and everything like that. But entrepreneuring, you gotta really be tenacious and in order to find success. Maybe it's easier for some of you out there, but if you look to Turbine Flats, Fuse here in Focus Suites, with them all being rented out, that tells you how healthy. I was at Axar Ben Farmers Market, shoulder to shoulder, so busy there. Oh my gosh, what a good thing for us entrepreneurs. Yeah, any other questions you have?
Do you have your own, how do you manufacture this? Do you have your own shop, your own building? Do you have your own equipment? Because I know, in various things, you have to, rent your equipment or whatever. And I would think your equipment has to be.
Yes. You did open up another idea for me. Toll processing. If it's aluminum, I could forge or cast, because smelting is available. So, yes, the place I work, it is there, I'm familiar with the area and such, but it's just a place. It could be here, it could be there. The machinery, on a budget, because paying off the student loans and such, I'm sure there's much wealth here in the future, of course. The machines, you can see some creativity in that because it's actually a ball mill that pulverizes. I have done a vibrator, and this is kind of getting into the nuts and bolts, so let me know if you're getting bored to death with this, okay? So if you take a clothes dryer and you pull the heating element off of that, it's now actually 110 volts. So you got the plug there for 220. If you cut that off and you put 110, you can plug it in the wall. It's like a 1/5 horsepower, quarter horsepower, it'll run all day if you kind of mess with the timer on it. So then it'll just rotate all day. Yeah, you got a dryer, it's gonna rotate. And but the thing is that it's going to be very loud with ball bearings in there. If you use like quarter-inch ball bearings, 10 pounds of that, maybe you might want to do less because it's kind of thin in there. Yes, and upgrading my machinery is something that I want to do, but so they call that the cascading effect. You take it is recycled aluminum that I use in there, and you got to do other steps before that, but you put lifters in there to get the cascading if it's going like 33 RPMs, and you can get machines that will, measure the RPMs because it might not be working right. It might be going slow. These machines do break and such, and take your temperatures because if it's getting too hot, your motor's going to blow out on you. So did I tell you put sound deadener on the outside of it? Because gosh, I actually have an app on my phone. It'll measure the decibels. If it's going 85 decibels all day, because it might take 80 hours per cycle to pulverize the aluminum, and then there's steps after that to get it to the right size and things like that. Yeah, you gotta wear your dust mask because it's very nasty stuff. Probably put some vinyl gloves on because if it gets on your hands, even washing it off, it ain't gonna come off. There's better ways in the future to look at that, streamline the process, and that'll help the price come down. I am asking a bit of a price premium on this, and I can justify the price premium that I'm offering on it because I went to the University of Nebraska here. I had them do like a particle molecular makeup. I learned it's not pure aluminum. There's traces of iron in there, but it still is very potent if looking at the pyrotechnic aspect of it. So any other questions you have for me? I'm not willing to share my sources with you. Yeah, you'll run into, Brooke, that a lot of these businesses have proprietary information and not wanting to share the secrets and such. So, but yeah, very healthy to have a curious question like that. And any other?
Want to make sure you get it from somewhere you're not like taking your old Tom cams or whatever and
Oh, no, right. No, yeah, because if it did go to the landfill, it would sit there. Aluminum takes a long time to break down and such, so recycling is a very good thing. There in York, they had it was a municipal sponsored recycling, much like they have here in Lincoln, but I was doing my recycling before them. They did their thing. They quit doing that as they're doing in Columbus and such like that. Quit doing municipal recycling, and here I am still continuing after. So that shows, corporations don't have to, or businesses don't have to last, a person's lifetime. They can keep continuing on after. So that's we chose business, and we're gonna really, it's probably what drives the world and such, because the dollar is what people often find interesting or what appeals to them. Any other questions from any
thing about being entrepreneur?
Favorite thing is probably, Ray, good question. Being able to carve my own path, I did have hourly gigs and things like that in the past, and I still need to utilize those, being pre-revenue and such. So I'm not like this gentleman here who is able, like Dave Ramsey says, pull the boat close enough to the dock to make the leap, to be a full-time entrepreneur. Congratulations, sir. The question, yes. So oftentimes in these jobs I got into, their process is, I would, give them feedback. Could we change the process to streamline, to try different things? And it would fall on deaf ears, and that was a bit disheartening and such. So being an entrepreneur, to answer your question, the best thing is that I have controlled the process. And so it's what will the future hold? Yes, it's an interesting question. If you're a pessimist, which I don't suggest being a pessimist, it might seem doom and gloom, but being an optimist, there's probably no reason not to think that there's very good things for all of us in the future. Any other questions for you? Yes?
You suggested, have you read Ed Milet's The Power of One More?
I haven't, no.
Excellent book talking about one more day, one more whatever in your business. Okay, just one more step of faith. Have you contacted any of the local and concrete layers?
No.
That I know they add additive to their concrete, especially on a lot of their decorative pieces that they're willing anyway. I might suggest that. See, I don't know that farmer market is the place where you could, they're like you said, they're wanting to buy those, I don't know, buckwheat, whatever, or vegetables. You might consider something when you get bigger, like the air show or some of these big ones that they're going to have. A friend of mine does car works, and he's going to all of these around the country for the fact that that's where his customers on it. But I would suggest starting if you're interested in concrete, talk to them, because I've seen a lot of decorative stuff that would be something that, especially things high-end homes, they would be interested in it.
Yeah, plaster, mortar, that is something that, could be very good, yes, to add the powdered aluminum to, and the book, thanks for that, and traveling around a bit to the specific industries that need that. Yes, excellent. You're full of good ideas. I appreciate that. Go on.
Fraction, you do everything for your business. Do you have anybody in your life that's saying you, supporting you, or helping you? Like maybe they chip in on the weekend to help you tumble some aluminum or something, or read it all.
It isn't on me all the time because the support of my family is very good. Yes. There's also consulting and probably need to look into continuing education, getting the MBA. I read the Wall Street Journal, and it does tout the benefits. If you look at the salary of, break it down, getting the MBA could be something positive to do. So that it's always possible. So it is rewarding and such to follow your passion and getting that support, because we all don't get 100%. Some of us wake up on the wrong side of the bed sometimes. So, yes, great question. Any more from you, anyone?
Well, thank you, T-Rex. It was great to learn about you and learn about your business, and we'll stick around afterwards. I believe that I always think I should look at next week's speakers, and I never do. So I always look to Ray because Ray knows all the answers.
It's open networking mix.
Okay. All right. So it's open networking. If you would like to speak, we will have an opening, but otherwise we will have a networking time. I would just like to plug a point of one of our marketing classes here at SCC has requested that their marketing students come and meet with entrepreneurs and develop a marketing plan for those entrepreneurs. So if you're interested in that, please let Ray know if that's all right. And we can get you in contact with Mary Jan Fiala, who is the instructor. But we're excited that we're going to start partnering with students and have some students around here to get to know about what the Bogus Students is all about. So we will plan on seeing everybody next week. Stay cool, stay safe, especially today. And we'll see you next week. And take care.
Thank you.